Welcome home. Online and ready.
Hello everyone, welcome to Iron Dad Collectibles. This is Iron Dad. In this episode, we are going to be working on this statue of Link from the Legend of Zelda. So to kick this video off, we are going to start with the base. Typically I save the bases for last because, well, to be honest with you, I kind of hate doing bases. But with this particular one, I was a little bit excited. First, I'm going to start off with some of this Meteor Yellow and basically just going to do the outlined areas where I'm going to be painting gold. I wanted to do this just so that I could bring out that gold color just a little bit more. So once I finish up with the yellow and doing all the areas and I'm going to be painting the gold, I'm going to take a bright gold from Army Painter's air paints and go over all of the yellows. Find that doing this over the yellow does make it a bit brighter than going straight to the primer paint. Now when I'm done with it, I'm going to let it sit and dry for a little while. Meanwhile, I'm going to do the same thing with the emblem on the base, starting off with the yellow and then spraying it with the bright gold paint. And once that's done, I'm going to move on to the base rock. Now, starting off with the dark stone, I'm just going to give it a once over with the airbrush, not covering the entire thing, but most of it, because I will be doing fake sand and fake grass on this build. So once I've completed the stone, I'm just going to give it a quick seal and then dry brush it over with uniform gray to bring out the cracks and crevices of the rocks. However, this is where we're going to have to end on the base because I lost a bunch of the footage to finish this base, and we'll just have to see it in the completion photos. Unfortunately, it was a mechanical error and I did not get what I thought I did. Moving on now to the head, which is one of my favorite parts of all the models. I'm going to start off with the corpse pail and just give it a quick once over, even layer on the face before moving on to adding some shade to the sides of the face, the forehead, cheeks, nose, and stuff like that. Using the Kobold Skin color by Army Painters, I am just going to put in some darkened areas to give it a little bit of depth. And this is something I just randomly do. It's never the same. I always experiment every time I do something new. Once I've completed that, then I'm going to move in, just grab the uniform gray, water it down really good, and just hit a couple of the edges of where his hair is at, just to replicate some shade and shadow from his hair falling into his face. As you can see, it's very simple, very subtle, nothing much. Then I'm going to go in with the Kobold skin color again, add one drop of red, and just spray the eyes ever so slightly to give the depth in the eyes as well. Next, I'm going to go with the matte black and fill in the eyes. Next step will be filling them in with the off-white color, which I kind of blend myself using white, gray, and just a tiny bit of blue. And for the eye color itself, I'm going to go with the crystal blue because that's what I found with the reference photos that I saw. He had very bright blue eyes. These eyes were modeled into the sculpt itself, so they were much easier for me to just trace and draw in. Once I'm done with the eyes, I'm going to start with his hair. And for the hair, looks like we did the Sunset, Cumberland Sunset Citadel paint. This was just a dark blonde color that I liked for his hair. I did wind up dry brushing after I finished with a lighter yellow just to bring out some highlights on the edges to make it look a little bit more realistic and gold flowing. Last but not least, the green, which I hate painting, so we're going to skip that part. And this is the final product for the head. As you can see, there is some light dry brushing on the cap as well. Moving on to the torso, I'm just going to give it a base layer with the airbrush of the Angel Green. And once we're done with this, we're going to go in and just do some dry brushing on the edges. Nothing too fancy or special to see here. However, I did go in and add some darker spots by adding a little bit of black to that Angel Green, so you can see me doing that here as well. So next you can see I'm just going to take this Gremlin Green, and with the airbrush first, I'm going to hit the high spots and just spots that I wanted to show light hitting. Also bring away the folds and stuff of the shirt away from the cracks and folds of the darker color that we put down first. And once I've done that part, I'm going to go back again with the Gremlin Gray and take my dry brush and actually go over some of the spots that we already hit with the airbrush. Now the airbrush, it's light, but I find that the dry brush, as you can see, still brings it out even brighter, and it does dry closer to it, but it does still give that appearance of the edges being hit by that light really nicely. And the next thing I'm going to do on the shirt is take the Angel Green and add a little bit of black to it so that I can hand paint all of the cuffs and edges of the shirt. I didn't want to have to mask anything. I hate masking, but I actually prefer masking over painting edges for long periods of time. And once I finished doing that, I did go in and use the Tainted Gold to do all of the gold chainmail, and then of course the leather brown to do all of the straps on the shirt. Painting these were a bit of a pain in the ass for me just because, well, at 40, my eyes just are not working that great on things up close, and the magnifiers really do help out. I got these off of Amazon. They are awesome. Now we're going to move on to the trousers, and I'm going to do, I believe I did the Cypress Brown first, and basically I'm doing undertone highlights first. And basically what I do here is I get all of the nooks and crannies of the areas that I want dark, and I paint them first. Once I've completed doing that, I will show you guys that my next step is taking the lighter color, which in this case is going to be, sorry, blah, blah, blah. You get past the arms here, forgot about those, but did the same thing for the arms as I did for the legs, highlighting everything that I wanted dark before I do the light color. Now moving on to it. Yeah, the Banshee Brown and Baron Yellow. I just mixed a little bit of that Baron Yellow to give it a more khaki look, and basically it's pretty simple. I paint over everything that I've already done. Nice light layers so that dark underlines or undershadows, whatever you want to call them, will come through the lighter color and just basically give it a little bit of a darker hue underneath it. All right, so now that we finished that, I'm going to take this skeleton bone color, and on all of the areas of the pants that have a fold, I'm just hitting the high points on it with that skeleton bone color to add a little bit of highlight. Once I've finished doing that with the pants, I'm also going to do the same thing with both of the arms. Coming down to the last couple of items we got left to do paint on. I'm going to start with deep blue and do the sleeve covers or gauntlet covers. These are just done in a deep blue color, both sides, both arms. Once I get done with them, I'm just going to do a simple medium tone wash over them just to give them a little bit of weathered and dirty look to them. And with this Thondina Brown, Thodina Brown, I don't know how you say it. I'm just going to do all of the straps on the sleeves that go to the shield and the arm gauntlet or pauldron, not sure what you really call it. Doesn't really matter, but I did want to do this in two-tone, so I went with the dark brown on the inside just to give it a little bit of depth and some fanciness to it, and on the raised edges did a copper tone, a copperish colored brown. And then once I finished that, added a little bit of weathering. I did paint the gloves separately. I did those with a dark wash as well. Buckles are just plain silver. Did the gloves and hand skin tones. I painted the sword and the shield at a different time. Also lost that footage too, so hooray for me. Starting off and finishing up here with the Dumble Brown on the boots. After I finished the base layer of brown, I just went over it in sporadic spots here and there just to give it a little bit of worn and weather look to the brown. To add to the weathered technique or the weathered look that I'm going for, I did add the Seraphim Sepia shade color by Citadel. I just lathered this on all over the boots, both of them, and then I will take a paper towel, a damp paper towel, and just kind of blot off all of the excess of the wash that I don't want left behind. And the final step for this weathering, I just take some of that dark brown and black, mix it together, and then just water it down a ton. And just like I did before, I'm going to take the paper towel and just blot away spots here and there to give it a nice dark leather worn look. Once the boots are fully weathered, I'm just going to finish up with the leather trim and decorations on the boots. Had to go and do all of the stitching on it as well, which was a long and tedious process, but as you can see, they turn out looking great. Now to glue this model together and we will call it done. So without further ado, here is the final product. Once again, thanks for watching. This is Iron Dad with Iron Dad Collectibles, signing out.